elders, dear brothers and sisters, Bhagavan, Sri Sathya Sai Baba, our most beloved Lord, who has gathered all of us here today and blessed me to share my personal experiences with you, I pray will help the message go into your hearts and help in your transformation. Personally, I have fond memories of being here 15 years ago when the first Pre-World Conference series started in 2000, when Dr. Ravindran asked me to share about the unity of the three wings of the Sathya Sai organization. At that time, I tried to elicit the deep messages of the 9-point code of conduct, which I believe is the real work program that Bhagavan has given to us for our own transformation. Drawing inspiration what happened on that day when Sri Indulal Shah commanded us to start a Sathya Sai school and an institute of Sathya Sai education in the Philippines. We are a very, very small family of Sai devotees in the Philippines. In fact, almost all of them are here because we are so few sisters and brothers and students of Bal Vikas. What I'm going to share with you is a journey which was inspired by Dr. Ravindran, Dr. Vijay, and more importantly, Dr. Artam Jumsai, who convinced us to embark on a seva, which we now are grateful to them because it has helped in our transformation. We were asked to start a Sathya Sai school. We had a rented place. You may all remember Baba convened a conference of the Sathya Sai schools in year 2000 when he said, to start a school, you don't need a building, you need teachers and students. So we actually had a rented place to start that. Then we inaugurated that place. People thought that we will go around and ask people for money to build the building because we were so few of us. That is the time we learned that to build a building, we need to transform ourselves. So in the Sai Center, as Swami has instructed, we convened a meeting and we asked the people, how do we go ahead with the project? We had got blessing from Swami on a proposal to build the building and get it started. When the chits were sent around and we collected all the chits and totaled the amount, it was no more than a few $1,000s. So we were so ashamed, but we were not giving up. So with the permission of the treasurer and the members, we sent the people back to the back room to once again submit their chits. This time, I'm always emotional when I share this story. One of the chits said the remaining amount that is needed. So that's why you see the building here, and we inaugurated even the second building since then. We know how Swami guided us to build every brick in that building. We could not get a contractor in that place. It was a place infested with Naxalites and others, so we had to personally go and supervise the buildings and so on. We have many children in the school. Dr. Jumsai, Victor Kanu, many other luminaries have visited it because being an officer in the Asian Development Bank, where the headquarters is placed in Metro Manila, we get to invite people from various organizations to come to the Philippines. Taking advantage of that, we also invited them to visit the Sathya Sai school, and so we have had many occasions like that. Now we've moved forward to year 2014. We do every year annual programs in the school. We invite government leaders to a public program where our children perform dramas, and we do graduation ceremonies at the school. We have had the Deputy Minister of Education to come to the school. In fact, he even used the programs in the school to develop government policy programs for parents participating in the public schools. We don't have a lot of talent to create our own script, so we copy the script of the Prashant Nilayam Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning's drama script and adapt it to create a small drama for our own school children. So this was in 2005, you may know, when Dr. Abdul Kalam visited the Prashant Nilayam in 2003, there was a very touching drama about a medical doctor student who prayed to Swami and then he got a chit and got a scholarship. Any of you will know this. We had that same drama, made it very simpler for our school children because we are a primary school only. In March of this year, a young boy visited the Sathya Sai school and he had come from Los Angeles, straight from the airport with his jacket, and then he met my wife and our principal, Mr. Al Makasset, who is here, and he said, "Do you remember me?" Because nobody remembers a teenage boy. He said, "I am a Satya." We didn't know what he meant. He was an alumnus of the Sathya Sai School, primary school. He had gone to Los Angeles. He had enrolled in the US Army, and he had been given an admission to the Stanford University. He wanted to become a doctor, and then he recounted to us. He's the same boy who you see there, and you see him on that drama script. He said, "I got inspiration from you that I want to be a doctor, I want to study in the US, I want to come back, and I want to serve the community here." When Swami says, "My students are my assets," I understood what it means. It takes time, but it is definitely there. So brothers and sisters, our transformation is not just within us. The wonderful Seva projects that all of the brothers and sisters have shared so far here, they are not without meaning. They have very powerful meaning. But this is not all, because all the Seva that we do is still a countable few. We are a few and we do a few things. We can applaud to ourselves, but as we all acknowledge, it is still a drop in the ocean compared to what is needed in the world. And that brings to the context where, in my professional capacity, I get to talk about the hundreds of millions of people who don't get water, sanitation, and so on, and what can we do about it? Often we talk about problems, very little about solutions, because it's so difficult to change the solutions, because we always talk about the same problems. Governments cannot do this, people are not ready to accept, and all those kind of things. So I took this personal challenge to study and investigate about the Anantapur Sathya Sai water project in the year 2002. And I have a brother, Avi Sarkar, here, who is now part of the United Nations. At that time, we commissioned the United Nations to do an independent evaluation of what is this project all about? What is special about it? What can we learn from it? And how can we use the lessons to really solve the problems of the world in terms of water and sanitation? So I got this chance to create a technical case study, and the first evaluation report, I only asked two questions. What is unique about it? How can we replicate and scale it up? The person who prepared the draft report gave to us the list of persons met. The first name was Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I was just jaw-dropping, because he had actually had a personal audience with Bhagavan, who explained to him all the details of the project and told him, "If you have more questions, please come back to me." And when we shared the findings of this project, they confirmed, and as you can see from the sharings in Nepal and so on, that this project is not easy to replicate without the devotional and the spiritual motivation behind it. And this project will last much, much longer. In fact, I have done recently, in the last 2 years ago, another case study which is almost 20 years after the project has been completed. Normal government projects will not last more than 5 or 7 years, and then we will rebuild them because they have been built in a way not maintained so well and so on. Whereas the Sathya Sai drinking water project has been running for 20 years, almost in the same way that it was originally built, because people treat that as a gift from God, and they treat it like a temple. Like how the brother from Indonesia said, it is a temple for the sick. This one, they treat it as a gift of water that God has given. So I learned that the Swami's projects are not for us to clap about. They have meaning for policy makers and government leaders, and it is our responsibility to share it at our professional capacities about Swami's water project, Swami's hospital, and other Sathya Sai educational activities and so on. I would like to close with this humble opinion that when Bhagavan says his life is his message, and he has lived that and shown that through his personal example, the Seva activities and the transformation that we can bring about is our work program to show that through our life, that we can show that our life is his message. Jai Sai Ram.